Hello, thank you for joining me for today's Facebook Live. My name is Tracy Held. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne, in Australia. And I'm finally live in person and on camera back at home today. So let me show you the card that we're going to be making. This is, again, you'll see I'm a little bit obsessed with this whole torn away thing. I really like the look of it. And this time we're using a new celebration offering. I don't know whether you've had a chance to look at the new catalogue and the new celebration stuff, but there's some very exciting things in there. So let me show you what we're using. The first thing is the Wonderful World stamp set. So that's got those flower images, and this is a level 2 celebration item. So it comes with DSP. So in Australia, it's one of the $180 items, but the paper is beautiful. So what I'm thinking with this one is fussy cut the flowers, that you can just get them out and put them on. And yeah, I know that I'm normally not one that's very excited about fussy cutting, but I think in this stage, these flowers are beautiful and they're not too hard to fussy cut. We've then got some more of these little floral images. And the reverse sides are all sort of your monotone or tone on tone pages. So a bit more muted than the front, but still very pretty. So I'm very excited about this one. I think that this is absolutely beautiful, and that stamp set is lovely as well. So aside from that, the other things that I used my favorite Sending Smiles for the sentiment, and of course the coordinating dies to cut them out. On this one I used the matte dot in color embellishments, but because I wanted to play with the paper, I decided that this time around I'm going to change the color. So we're going to use the little pink piece instead. And because I don't have matte dots in pink, I'm going to just, before we start, I like to color, when I'm coloring my rhinestones, I like to give it a few coats just to get the color going. So let's just do that first, and then I'll get busy on the other stuff and we'll come back and color a bit more. So we're just going to, okay, that one did not want to be colored. It doesn't want to go on the card. All right, so I'll come back and add more color. I just want to let that dry a little bit. All right, now the next thing, I was going to do the card in Rich Razzleberry, but when my husband looked at it, he told me that he doesn't like the top layer and the card base in the same color. So I did a quick scramble, and we'll do Rich Razzleberry with a Blushing Bride card base. So do you think that that looks better, or would we prefer Rich Razzleberry with Rich Razzleberry? All right, we can think about that one. So what I've done is, just to give it some texture, I've run my top piece through the Pretty Flowers embossing folder. And when I've cut my piece of DSP, we're only seeing sort of that much. We're going to leave some of the side of it not torn. So just to get my maximum out of the paper, I've cut that 10 centimeters so I can get 3 pieces out of one strip of DSP. So that's just to sort of get the most out of this DSP. I don't want too much of it to be covered up. So what we need to be mindful of while we're tearing is that we don't want to go past that point, and I want to tear so that I'm between there. All right, so just eyeballing it roughly. I'm going to start tearing here, and we're just going to tear. So I guess try and tear that it's a little bit, you know, higgledy-piggledy, and it's got a bit of waves to it. And maybe just go a little bit more, that'll be good. And then I'm tearing again down the other side. So I know, very scientific explanation here, or instructions, just eyeball and rip. Alright, now what I'm going to do is, I could roll this whole piece up, but it's then going to be very, very thick and very bulky. So I'm just going to cut off a bit, and we're going to roll that up. So to the tear. And what I'm going to do now is cut that off. Okay, so I've got my little rolled up piece, and we've cut it off. And I'm taking, this is the Baker's Twine Essentials pack. So I'm taking a piece of the Baker's Twine, and we just need a little piece. We're going to tie it around here. And hopefully I gave myself a big enough piece that I can actually tie. Now if you wanted to, you could tie this into a bow, but I thought that I just preferred a knot. To me, a bow was just looking too big on top, just because this is quite a small roll, but that's up to you. If you like a bow, give yourself a bit bigger piece of Baker's Twine than I've done here. Okay, we're giving up on that one. Let me just cut a longer piece. I should know, always cut way longer than you think that you're expecting, because otherwise your fingers get in the way. And of course, it's easier to cut it shorter. If you've started too short, you can't make it longer. Right, so there we go. My little scroll is now tied up, and I can cut off those ends. Right, now let's just add some more colour to my rhinestones. And I'm going to stamp my insert before we start assembling. Now, this is one of those distinctive stamps again. So, oops, there's my little bow that we need for later. It is beautiful, and just, you don't need to worry about shading or not shading. You do need to worry about stamping properly though. So let's just, there we go. So you're getting all the shades and the colouring in the stamp with no effort. I don't know how they do that, but it is absolutely brilliant. It makes it so easy for us to do pretties. Alright, so let's stick this inside straight away. There we go. Inserts in the card. Now what we're going to do is, we're taking that torn piece and my piece of DSP, and I'm going to stick it that's sitting behind that over there. Now when you're doing this, make sure that you remember which side you want your glue to go on. So here I want that side because it's sticking there, so no glue along the front side. So we're going to just put a bit of glue, oops, on camera, along the edges over here. And I'm going to put just a drop of glue along there. So we're sort of going to stick the edge of the DSP and the edge of the paper and make sure that we're sticking it the right way. Lining up the side edges. So we want those side edges to be in line. And I'm going to just see if I can shift it down just a little bit. Okay. I just want, alright, that wasn't very clever, but I just want, when I looked at it there, I think I want a bit more. Oh, obviously didn't tear that very well, but I just want a bit more of that rose showing. Alright, we'll be happy with that. And then the whole piece can get stuck down onto the front of the card. There we go. Now I've stamped my flower and fussy cut it. Yes, I actually fussy cut. I know that I don't do that very often, but you can see I just went around the edges. I didn't sort of try and follow the ins and outs too closely to cut exactly around all the points of the flower, so it wasn't too terrible to cut. And we're going to pop that on with dimensionals. I'm using up the very last ones on this card of dimensionals. And I'm going to cut just the tiniest piece to put there where the stem sort of meets up where we've got a bigger piece. There's our flower. And now I'm taking my little scroll and we're going to glue it back. I've got so many glues here and they're all really close to the end, so it's a matter of trying to figure out which one I was using and which one I can still squeeze some glue out of. So we're going to stick that back pretty much where it came off. Now again, my husband suggested that you could poke a hole through here and thread the glue through and then tie it there without cutting it off. Yes, you can. I think I would battle to get it threaded through, so for me it's just easier to cut it off, but if you wanted an alternative, you can do that. I've stamped my sentiment and cut it out with the Sending Smiles dies, so we're going to pop that onto dimensionals as well. And yeah, I don't know, I've got so many sheets of dimensionals floating around, but this one's the one that just happens to be here. So we'll use that one. Oops. Apparently it likes my fingers today. It doesn't want to come off my fingers. Alright, sentiment over there. I'm going to just give one more coat of colour onto these rhinestones. And while that just dries, here's my little bow that I tied with the baker's twine. And let's get up to, so there you go, got some glue dots. There's our bow, and we can just put our coloured rhinestones. Right, so there we go, 2 different colours. And if you watched my video, I can't remember how many weeks ago it was when I did the other card with the torn paper. I know, like I said, I just love the look of the torn paper lately, but you might remember I did that card. So I've redone pretty much the same card, but using the Wonderful World DSP. So there you go. Any DSP you can use. It makes whatever. The DSP just has that look through, and use whichever pretty paper you like. So there you go. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. I will be back next week, and enjoy Celebration. There's some lovely, lovely things in there. See you next week. Have a good week. If you're in Melbourne, stay warm. We're in for some cold weather. See you then. Bye.